guys, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to the next game review. And you know what guys, since that in the next couple of weeks the latest installment of the Assassin's Creed franchise, Assassin's Creed Shadows, is finally coming out, I thought that I would take the few weeks leading up to the release of Assassin's Creed Shadows, covering the first 3 installments of the Assassin's Creed franchise. I guarantee you guys might be wondering 2 particular things, one of which being, why am I covering the first 3 games, and 2, will I be covering Assassin's Creed Shadows? To answer the second question first, we'll see. It all depends on if the game is good. I'll definitely check out the game, but we'll see if I'll actually cover it. Going back to the first question, why am I covering the first 3 Assassin's Creed games? I'll be honest here guys, as I was playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, to which, full clarification, I think is a fun game. As a matter of fact, Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla are all fun games. I love how open-ended they are, how big they are, how fun they are. I found myself longing and missing the back-to-basic structure of the first 3 Assassin's Creed games. As I was playing Assassin's Creed, it became very clear that I want to not only cover this game, but 2 and 3. Let's get on to the first Assassin's Creed game. Assassin's Creed 1 came out back in 2007 for the Xbox 360 and the PS3, and in the game, we essentially go through 2 different storylines, but it's all put together in this one overarching plot. One of the characters we play as is Desmond Miles, who is portrayed by Nolan North, a person who is kidnapped by a company called Abstergo to have him go through this machine called the Animus, which has him relive the memories of his ancestor, an assassin named Altaïr, in the Third Crusade of the Holy Land in 1191. In the Desmond Miles storyline, we find that there is this ongoing war between the assassins and the Templars. In the storyline for Altaïr, we find that Altaïr is a very hot-headed assassin that has his abilities and essentially his ranks stripped away from him, and in order to get him back, he must do the task and go to each city, whether it's the cities of Masyaf, which by the way, I really apologize if I butchered these names in advance, by the way, Jerusalem, Acre, and Damascus, as a way to not only restore his integrity, his status, his rank, but to also find out some fishy things that are going behind the scenes that may cause some distortions and Altair's reality. When this game first came out, I actually did have it on the PS3, and this is a game that, no joke guys, I got to a certain point in this game, and I don't know if the game I had or the copy I had was bugged or something, but honest to God here guys, the first time that I'd ever played this game, I actually did not beat the first Assassin's Creed game. I either didn't know what the fuck to do essentially, or maybe the game was buggy, I have no idea. But otherwise, believe it or not, 10 years later, I finally finished the game. And how do I feel about this game? We're about to find out. Before I continue on with today's video, I just wanted to say, welcome to my channel everybody. For those of you who are coming back to my channel for the very first time, be sure to hit the subscribe button to not miss a feature video. It's a feature review, a top 5, a reaction, whatever I've come your way, and join me on my journey to 10k subscribers and beyond, because believe me when I say this guys, you are not going to miss the cool stuff I have coming your way. And for those of you coming back to my channel, by the way, welcome back everybody. You have no idea how happy this your faces once again, and let's start our conversation below. What did you guys think of the first Assassin's Creed? Have you played the game? Did you like the game? Do you not like the game? Let me know below. And also as well, before I continue on, just so what you all know, the footage that you're seeing was captured on an Xbox Series X, which by the way, the game looks great. Put on the 60 frames per second FPS boost and turn off HDR. Assassin's Creed, does it have its issues? Yes, it does. But I feel like it is held up very well. Let's get into why. Going on to the first thing that I absolutely loved about Assassin's Creed is how this game introduces you into the world of both storylines, well, really two storylines that go into an overarching plot. The story of assassins versus Templars and the overall concept of having someone going into a machine that has them relive the memories of their ancestors. I think it is such a cool concept, and not to mention as well, people that are using these assassins as a way to, in a certain way, when you find out, gain an advantage in this modern day war between assassins and Templars. The way that the game eventually reveals what's actually going on between Abstergo and the assassins, I think is really, really cool, especially when it comes to the overarching storyline. Desmond Miles, I think, is a very, very cool character, especially the more that you learn about him, and not to mention it as well, just the overall story I thought was really, really cool. But Altaïr's story of a haughty assassin, a hot-headed assassin that feels like he knows everything, feels like he is better than everybody else, to only have his abilities, his rank stripped away from him, and in order to get him back, he must essentially follow the rules, must relearn what it means to be an assassin. The game story for both ends, for both characters, and the overarching story, I think is really, really cool. Going on to the next thing that I absolutely love about the first Assassin's Creed game, and that is the overall look and the art direction. Assassin's Creed 1 still looks great to this day. I mean, whether it's the level design, the character models, the overall atmosphere, and how everything is designed, the first Assassin's Creed game just has this look in terms of the color palette especially that really does make it stand out even amongst the more recent Assassin's Creed games. The feeling of exploring the Holy Land of 1191 during the Third Crusade, Jerusalem, and especially Damascus, and especially going to the final areas. This is a game that in terms of its art direction, its level design, is still to this day very, very well done. Each city feels like it's not only lived in, it's all dense, and how each character, especially, which goes into my next thing to build off of this thing. One of the things that I love about this game is that the world does react to what you're doing in the game. Like, for example, if you go through really any city or any part of the game and you're free running and doing parkour, you'll actually hear the characters going, why is he doing that? He's gonna hurt himself, and if he does, I'm not gonna help him. This game was actually really ahead of its time, and it is a game that was really laying a lot of groundwork for what was to come in the next coming of years. Whether it comes down to the design, the atmosphere, the color palette, the art direction, the first Assassin's Creed game, if you ask me, still holds up very, very well. Another thing in particular that I love about this game is that it is a very challenging game, actually more challenging than I remember. This is a game that genuinely has great AI. I mean, there are bits in this game where it is actually telling you, if you do this and do this, you'll be good. But if you do this, you are not going to be a good assassin, essentially. What this game is telling you to do in order to successfully carry out your missions, whether it's an assassination, eavesdropping, pickpocketing. And that, guys, brings me on to the aspect about this game that I love the most, and it's the thing that made me miss playing these three games: the stealth gameplay. Now, once again, and do not get me wrong, guys, the action RPG elements of the newer Assassin's Creed games, they are fun, but if you ask me, what makes Assassin's Creed is the stealth-based gameplay. Knowing that, especially when you're going to a specific city and you're trying to do in your assignments, whether it's like I mentioned you guys earlier, the eavesdropping, the pickpocketing, finding out certain aspects before you carry out your next assassination on how to make things somewhat easier or go things in your favor. And then when you're finally carrying out that assassination and when you get that hidden blade into your target, it is such an adrenaline rush, it's not even funny. Like, guys, there is a particular assassination at the moment that I accomplished the mission, I actually had an audible reaction to it. Like, it was so much fun. And again, it made me miss the back to basic structure of these games compared to the open-ended and the action RPG elements of, let's say, Origins, Valhalla, and Odyssey. The stealth mechanics and the stealth gameplay is so well done. Ah! God damn it! Do not get me wrong, guys. The first Assassin's Creed game is a good game, but there are some aspects about this game that do hold this game back, unfortunately, pretty greatly, if you ask me. Going on to easily my biggest criticism with this game, well, actually two of them I should say, but let's go on to the first big criticism. That is the main assassin, Altaïr. Altaïr is such a boring main character. Like, guys, no joke. I did not remember Altaïr being such a boring assassin. And here's the thing. Considering that this is the first assassin they're starting off with, and really the first impression, really, of the Assassin's Creed franchise, Altaïr is kind of a boring assassin. Now, don't get me wrong too, guys. As you continue through and as you play through the game, Altaïr does become a bit more of a compelling character, but the character of Altaïr in general, I just found to be such an uninteresting character, and if you ask me, kind of a generic character, especially considering the time period that you're, I mean, the Third Crusade, the Holy Land of 1119, that assassin should have been so cool and so badass, but what we have here instead is a pretty generic assassin, even though the storyline of an assassin who is so hot-headed, he's stripped of his rank and he has to regain not only that rank and that honor again, but also relearn what it means to be an assassin. That should have been a slam dunk, but unfortunately, Altaïr is not really that much of an interesting character. Going on to my second biggest criticism of this game, and that is some of the gameplay. Some of the gameplay of Assassin's Creed, I cannot deny, can get very, and I mean very repetitive. The gameplay and the mission structure can be very repetitive, especially the save the victim missions. The amount of times I was walking across a city and I kept on hearing, "You steal from me? That will cost you your life!" Honest to God, I got to a certain point I was just thinking, just kill him. The amount of save the victim missions that were in each city is just ridiculous. It was monotonous, and even though I loved doing it at first, it just got very, and I mean very repetitive. Building on top of that, basically the story of the game is this. You go to a city, do some missions, and do your assassination, go back, regain a bit of your rank and equipment, go to another city, rinse and repeat. The mission structure can be a little repetitive to the point where I wouldn't say it's boring, but it just gets to a point where you're just doing the same thing over and over again, even though it is fun. But I cannot help deny that the mission structure and the gameplay can be a little repetitive. Even though that the gameplay and the mission structure can be a little repetitive, I do also feel that what Ubisoft was doing here was just laying a lot of groundwork of what they know and what they could accomplish going forward to the Assassin's Creed franchise. And while it is some repetitive groundwork, you can tell that in the next Assassin's Creed games, Ubisoft definitely learned from this game. So overall, while the first Assassin's Creed game can be a little repetitive, and while Altaïr is a bit of a boring character, the first Assassin's Creed game is a very good first impression, and it's a very good first game and what would become a very long and enduring franchise. All in all, I'm going to give Assassin's Creed 1 a 7 out of 10. Play this game, guys. Go through it. And what this game teases is an incredible second game. And that, guys, is gonna wrap it up for my review of Assassin's Creed 1. I hope y'all enjoyed it. If so, please hit the like button, or if you dislike the review, hit the dislike button. If you guys want to see my previous 2 reviews, please click the left or right side of the screen. And of course, until my next review video goes live, I'll see you all next time.
Shows that we've made progress. Or do you forget the way you once were?
Can't remember before all a blur.
Let go your burden. Ah, I'll rest.